What is Truth podcast, where we discuss a wide range of topics through the lenses of faith, manhood, and genuine truth. What is truth? It's a question and statement rooted in John 18, verse 38. And similar to our Lord and Savior, we come to bear truth. I'm your host, Xavier Walker.
And I'm your co-host, Devon Surreal. We thank you for tuning in. Now let's gear up for the truth.
Yep. What up? True fans, true seekers, where y'all at?
And we happy to be here.
Yeah.
We happy for all the people who have liked our videos, who have subscribed. Thank you very much. We're coming with a lot more content. Let us know what topics you want to hear. I'm Xavier.
I'm your co-host, Devon.
Yeah, we just want to get into, what I'm saying. First and foremost, let's do a wellness check. You know what I'm saying? Like, how's everybody doing? I know y'all can't talk back, but we care about how y'all doing.
Real talk.
And so how you doing, bro? How your
I'm
mind
doing,
going?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. Just scrambling. Dealing with the hustle and bustle of life. Both of us, we're two entrepreneurs, so sometimes our days don't. It's not the same as a 9-to-5 grind where where you're gonna be at this time Monday and that time Tuesday.
Right.
Our days can be a wide range on any given day.
Absolutely, and I definitely feel that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like the 9 to 5, and you're not used to waking up at a certain time. One day you might wake up. I mean, because we have kids, we gotta wake up and get them ready for school and everything like that. But outside of that, it's like, one day you might have time to go to the gym for 2 hours, and the next day it's like I ain't got no time to go to the gym. Just because of the flexibility and the up and down of being an entrepreneur and making your own schedule and whatnot. And hopefully, some of you guys, I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. And those who can't, hopefully soon you'll be able to understand what that's like.
Definitely.
But for me, I would say that things is good, but I'm always striving to get better and be in a better place as far as like spiritually, mentally, financially, physically. You know what I'm saying? My brother been in the gym. I need to get up his level. You know what I'm saying? I ain't been in the gym. As y'all could tell, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready for Thanksgiving.
Oh man, that's so funny. Because I am trying to get my mental health back. If I'm just, these are just our sidebar moments.
Yeah.
I was thinking about things over this weekend. I'm just trying to get back, get my health straight, get my mental health, get my mind right. I remember watching the movie. I rewatched the movie Limitless. Where he took the pill and his mind was mentally clear.
Yeah.
And that kind of motivated me to do a fast. So I did a little short fast.
That's what's up.
And I did feel like it cleared out my mind just a little bit. And then, Monday roll around, we back grinding, we back, doing the podcast, we back in the gym, we shooting in the gym.
Yes.
So we want to see y'all doing the same thing. If y'all days is going well, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how y'all doing. Let us know where you coming from. And we're going to keep kicking these gyms.
Yeah. And so we had a conversation maybe like last week or so, or over the weekend, I believe. And we just, like we normally do, like this is conversations that we normally have. And we had a conversation over the weekend just about like ambition level. And, I was sharing my heart with my brother, just telling him like, look, what I'm saying? It's been a challenge, what I'm saying, with being a dad and, what I'm saying, and being like a full-time dad and doing everything that I need to do as far as like business wise. And it's so challenging. And it's like I look back at when I was 18, 19, 20 and just like unstoppable. So, what I'm saying? Today we want to talk about, being 17, 18 and invincible, you know what I mean? And not having a care really in the world. You ain't got too many bills for real. If you live at, for the most part, you staying at home with your parents.
We was talking about this topic, and I remember somebody saying, that at 17 years old, you feel like you're the most invincible that you probably will ever feel in your whole entire life, based on the facts that you really have all the world and all the potential in front of you. So
Right.
like when we was just chopping it up and having a conversation about this, we said this would be a good topic to hit on. So today's episode is 17 and Invincible. So like just kicking that off, we would think about like what were your dreams at 17, and how does that look now? So like when I think about like what my dreams was at 17, like I didn't have it all figured out. I didn't know what I wanted to be. We literally talking about high school days. I just knew that I was gonna make money. I just knew that I was gonna be a millionaire. I just knew I was gonna get it any way possible. So like my mind at 17 was I was always on the next hustle. Like at 17, like I was literally in like if it made money, I was down for it. If it made money, it made sense in my book. So that's kind of where my mindset was at 17. How is it now? I'm to a certain degree, I'm still there. Like if you ever if somebody ever asks you about me, like he always got some hustle, he always got like something up his sleeve. So like it kind of shows you no matter how much you evolve, some of the core stuff, some of that core qualities sometimes stays the same. Like I've always had this hustle to just get out and grind. I probably knew at that young age of like 17 that being a 9 to 5 worker wasn't gonna be for me. So you fast forward nearly 16, 15 years later.
You old, man.
Yeah, man. Time flies, my guy.
20 years later.
Yeah, man. 15 years later, that's where we at. We entrepreneurs. We trying to make our schedule as we go. We trying to not cap our income. We trying to really push for the stars and eat what kill what you eat. Eat what you kill.
Right.
That's what about you?
For me, at 17, what was my dreams? My dreams at 17, I always seen myself as an entrepreneur ever since I was 5. I did a lot of, illegal activity, you know what I'm saying? You got to start somewhere. But
you hopped off the porch before 17 or at 17?
That was before 17. I was out, you know what I'm saying?
The porch.
But see, I had to keep it hidden, you know what I'm saying? Because I went to church every Sunday too, so I had to keep all of that, under wraps. But at 17, I just really seen myself as a multi-millionaire. Like I never seen myself working for anybody. Not that saying working for anybody is a bad thing. We need certain work like nurses and doctors, and you know what I mean. I mean, we seen that during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Essential workers. It's so many people that in normal life we may have taken for granted, but we got to see that we need these people. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Like more essential than people believe. It's like you ever look at football, you think when you think essential person, you think in the quarterback, but what about the guy who hikes the ball?
Right, you need that line. That front line is needed.
Yeah,
get knocked on your ass. Yeah, but at 17, I don't want to go too deep into this part, but I was going through a lot. You know what I'm saying? My parents was just recently divorced. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
what was the party life hitting on? Because now I think about 17 was probably party after party. This is right before you start to go to real clubs. So
I was matter of fact at 17 I was going to real clubs. I ain't gonna anybody that knows, you know what I'm saying? Like we was in real clubs. You know what I'm saying? But I mean at 17, the party life was fun. But also, like, I was always hungry. Like, when I say hungry, like, I was always looking for a way to make money. I remember, and I don't want to go too far back, but I remember, having that pack and feel, knowing how I feel to get that sell off. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm not promoting drug selling, but it's like, it wasn't about the sale of the drugs. It was more so about making my own money. You know what I'm saying? Even though I had to go back to...
It's funny. No, it
wasn't really my money for real. But
it's funny, but um, it's funny and sad because in our community, sometimes selling drugs is your first introduction to entrepreneurship.
yeah,
So you learn what to buy, you learn how to buy products at a low price and
right.
sell
And
them at a
selling,
higher price.
yeah,
And
yeah,
what you kept in that middle was your profit.
yeah. It wasn't much back
Yeah,
then.
but unfortunately, what you saw at that young age, 17 to 20, is
Yeah.
people would flex with the entire money,
Right.
and then you really know in the back of their mind, hey, it's only a small portion that's actually your profit because
That's a
all of this
fact.
is re-up money.
Right. Right. Until you got enough to really invest in yourself that way. But look, I ain't sell no hardcore drugs. You know what's crazy? You know what? This is the crazy part, right? This is a sidebar. This is the crazy part. You know, now selling weed is like the cool thing to do. Back in like 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, it was not cool. It was not cool. Everybody was, all y'all smokers that start smoking in y'all 30s, you know who you are. I'm 25, and I just but like I'm not knocking it, but it's just like it's
Commercialized.
yeah, it's commercialized now. Back then, it was like demonized. Like I remember certain friends, like my close friends that knew was like, yo, man, you play football, man. What you doing? And this and that, man. You can't be doing that, And it was just like, yo, man, like I ain't hurting nobody, this ain't crack, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't knocking nobody that's well, you know what? Yes. but back then that was, I see myself as an entrepreneur. I didn't know how I was going to get to where I wanted to get. I thought it was, selling drugs and so forth and so on. But I also knew there was no true long life in that. I mean, and if you have done that for a long period of time, bless your heart. But I knew it wasn't for me for long term, and I knew it was to get anything that I did to get money was always to help out people around me, like my brothers and sisters. It was always to, do something to help them out. So, and a lot of people don't know this. So when they see this video, they're gonna be like, "What the heck?" But
Not you, Pastor.
but But yeah, you know what I'm saying? And compared to where I am now as far as like dreams and aspirations, I still have those 7, 8, 9, 10 figure dreams, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I see myself there. Like I never seen that, never wavered for me. I never, I went through certain obstacles that I probably didn't have to go through if I listened, correctly. But I think everything that was learned, what I'm saying, during those times could be added and, now I could pass it down. But yeah, I still have the same, I'm not going to say the same mindset, but I still have the mindset of being an entrepreneur. I still have the mindset of pursuing my dreams, creating a legacy for my family. Like Dame Dash said, you know what I'm saying? I hustle for my last name, not my first. I shout out Dan because I was like, I don't want to take it to sound like, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like I still have that mindset and I still pursue a life of freedom. You know what I mean? When I say freedom, I'm talking about financial freedom. You know what I mean? Like freedom to wake up anytime I want to, freedom to go where I want to go. That's the life that I pursue. So yeah.
Because that's a beautiful part, especially as we pivot into self-image. When I think about that, and especially that sound bite you talking about from Dame, like just hustling for your last name, like God really put that on my heart like years ago, and to the point where like I'm probably like 3-4 years into some of these businesses, but He had me start literally naming the businesses after my last name. Yeah. Like my last name is spelled a certain way, but this is the way it's pronounced is surreal. So even though it's spelled with a C, but I pronounce it with an S, the surreal, like surreal, like being amazing or something. But it led to me building Surreal Estates. It led to me forming Surreal Faith Ministries. It led to so many things behind the last name because God was showing me that, just to build around, like build for your last name, build businesses that you can pass your kids. That's what's really important now, like leaving legacy. So like legacy is everything.
Right.
Yeah. So when I think about self-image, like when when I think back to me being 17, it was just like, I feel like my family had never really seen real wealth. I wouldn't say we were poor, but I wouldn't say we were like middle class. Definitely not upper middle class. I do remember food stamps days. I do remember like, hey, taking that funny money to the store. I remember days like that. But at the same time, it was like my self image was like I still wanted more for myself. Today, when I look at it, it's like in a way that in a certain way I'm content, like, but then in a certain way there's still a passion and a hunger to like go out and get more, go out and provide more, go out and do what God has placed on my heart to do to the best of my ability, because what you do now is really going to not just secure you, but like it's really going to feed your kids, it's really going to
Right.
feed your extended family, your
Right.
cousins, your associates. Like, for us to be able to come together and say, hey, let's form this podcast.
Right.
And, maybe down the road, this podcast is generating money and doing different things like as it should.
Right.
And we'll be looking back and say, man, we really just took a thought that was in our mind, put pen to paper, and look what came from it. So,
Yeah.
that's one of our goals. That's believing and having that self image of yourself that, God can show me something, a vision, and we can execute it.
Yeah. I think that's really good. For me at 17, and my self image was a lot of what I saw on TV mixed with what I saw in real life. So on TV, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at, of course, rappers, and at that time I was 17. I think Lil Wayne was like the hottest guy at that time, one of the hottest, I think. But I'm
Right.
looking at rappers and stuff, and like looking at their lifestyle and looking at the nice cars and the women and all of that. So I found my identity and my self image in those things a lot of times. Outside of that, when I looked at the men in my life, I saw, I was thankful, I was blessed to have some good men in my life, my dad, my grandfather, my uncles, and I seen a lot of what they did, the good and the bad, because as you get older, once you're 17, you start to see the good and the bad. You don't just see the good anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
started seeing the bad too, and I'm like, man, and I understood even at that age, like generational curses and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this is who I am now. How am I going to break these,
Mhm.
generational curses that I see them going through? You know what I'm saying, and experiencing. So at 17, my mind was more like about securing a bag, um, and getting girls. Like that was my mindset at 17. And of course, I love my family, my siblings, and and doing what I can whenever they needed anything. But yeah, I had a very childlike mindset because my focus wasn't really on what it should have been. I was smoking a lot of weed. You know what I'm saying? So like that clouded a lot of my judgment and
You was
everything
getting
like
high on
that.
your own supply, man.
Oh no! You want to know what's crazy? I'm gonna tell you something crazy. I
um,
probably paid for weed my whole life, maybe like 5 times ever,
uh,
and I smoked weed from the time I was. Oh, we ain't gonna go there.
you know what's
but
funny? I sold, I think I probably hopped off the porch around 18.
it's okay.
Yeah. And I sold drugs for a couple years. And I never smoked it from probably like 18 to 21.
Mm.
Cause it was all a business to me. It was
Right,
all a
right, right.
hustle to me. Like I had never tried drugs. Um, in my family, we had seen like there was examples of what like drugs did to some people in my
Right.
family. So like I actually had a fear. Not that I thought weed was dangerous, but at the same time, I knew for a fact that sometimes it's a gateway drug for people that
Right.
it leads to other stuff. So like I was so business focused when it came to that. I was like, nah, I ain't. You can get as high as you want, partner. Like,
Yeah.
but this is straight transactional for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
That's a. I mean, I was like that too. So I was like 13. From 13 up, bro, I started smoking weed at 13, man. And I ain't start selling it until the year after. I think like 14, might have been 13. See, look what the weed do to your brain. Can't even remember. But nah, on some real, like that was what my self image was. Just women
Yeah.
and money and that's how I saw myself. Like I just want to be rich and have girls. That was it. And now as a man, my self image isn't in money. Like my self image is in what I'm teaching my daughter. Like I find true self image. And first of all, before I go to my family, my self image is in God. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ. So, and I'm flawed just like the rest of y'all. And but that's who I look at to see, like, okay, where am I at? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I look at the word, and because that's what we have to do to know, like, okay, this is who God says I am. I can't listen to anything else that anybody else says if it doesn't line up with my belief first. You know what I'm saying? It has to line up with my core values, my beliefs. And if it doesn't, and to be honest, a lot of times, because some people are like, oh, that's just a set of rules and this and that. But it's like when you have a relationship, you want to do everything that you can do to respect and to love who you're in a relationship with.
Mhm.
And so if I say I have a relationship with Christ, with God, then that means that I have to do everything that I can to show love and honor, respect, just like you would do your spouse, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So for me right now, that's where I find my self image, and then I project that self image onto my child. Um, and I find my self image in what I do in my community. How I parent. That's how I see myself. As a good father, as somebody who does good work in the community. Excuse me, and just again what the word says I am.
Yeah.
So even when I don't feel like I'm this type of guy that I want to be, I'm like, all right, let me go back to what
The
God
word
says,
says.
because all this, or I just speak it to myself, while I'm driving.
Yeah.
That's my, like, I don't even listen to music a lot of time. A lot of time I just be driving and just be talking, because throughout the day you get negative thoughts, right?
Yeah.
If your day's not going how you want it to be, if you just got into argument, like things are just up and down,
Those
like
are some great nuggets. What you based on what you were saying, like what immediately clicked in my mind was like when the word says that your as believers our life is hid in Christ.
right,
So that means like we not out in the forefront, like we literally the background singers, and he's the lead. He's in the
right,
front. He's showing you what life should be through His word, through the character that's broke down in the word. Like this is how your character should be. This is how you should walk. This is how you should treat others. Love one another. These are the things that are in the word that kind of gives you like a play-by-play guide on how to live life and how to stand tall. So it's good to dig into that word and find out who Christ is.
yeah,
And um we're not just talking about the Western view of Christianity. We're talking about literally who Jesus Christ was, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Jesus Christ that literally walked this earth, Jesus Christ that was literally, born in a manger but was, the king of all kings. We're talking about like somebody that, literally humbled himself down into human form and really walked this thing out and really like was crucified for what what he believed and like who he was, like. And then his own partners, they turned their back on him, like, and they literally went back to their old profession. It was like, imagine imagine you having an encounter with Christ, then all of a sudden Christ died, and within that 3 day period your mind already reverts back, like, I guess that wasn't real, let me go back to fishing. So the interesting part now, because we're in a generation that we might see the return of Christ literally, or we might not, but we believe him by faith, which is the absence of actually seeing. So I'm believing God on who He is based on what I've been taught, what I've heard, based on the fact that I have a relationship with the God that I never seen. And the Word talks about how can you love a God who you never seen and
Hate your
hate your
brother.
brother. Like
Yeah.
that stuff don't work. Like you gotta be able to in 2022, you gotta be able to show love even to your brothers. Show love to people that persecute you. Show love to people who come at you sideways. Have that temperance. Have those fruits of the spirit. Have that meekness. Have that humility deep in your spirit. So those,
Preach! Preach! That boy out here preaching.
you know.
It's like fire, shut up in my bones.
Nah, it be like that. It be like that. So it's like, and the crazy part is like having a relationship with the Holy Spirit is like being able to filtrate any type of situation. It's like because God will give you, insight. God will give you guidance on what to say to somebody.
Yeah.
God will literally shut your mouth and be like, "Don't you speak them fleshly words?" Because we all know we got advice that sometimes we'll be like, nah, bro, you should do X, Y, Z. And you already know, like, that's something that's based on your flesh. But sometimes God won't let you give certain people advice. It's so crazy and so deep how the Holy Spirit will move. It's just be like, it really will change certain relationships because you having a relationship with somebody that's filled with the Holy Spirit and you being filled with the Holy Spirit, it's gonna be like iron sharpening iron. So it's like to a certain degree, you already know you're not, you need to bring some type of life bearing word to that other person to always uplift them.
Right.
And that iron and sharpening iron, it just makes y'all both sharp.
Yeah. And speaking about advice and relationships, that kind of brings me into like another segment of what I want to talk about or what we want to talk about. Who are your biggest influences at 17 and 18? Like who are for you? Who would
So
you-
it was funny because you was like Lil Wayne was on top of the world, and when you
yeah,
when you were 17, so like I'm like what, like 2 years older than you.
Yeah.
So like, be honest with you, for me, like I felt like Jeezy was on top of the world
Jesus,
for me.
okay.
Like me, like being
Snowman.
that, yeah, like that was it. Like it's funny because of how rap really influences our culture.
Yeah.
It was crazy because this is what the rap music did for me at the age of 17, 18. It when you hear the music, you see the lifestyle, you want to implicate that lifestyle, you want to be part of that lifestyle, you want to actually move in those arenas and have all the girls and make all the money.
Yeah.
And then so you start trying to execute that plan, and it starts off maybe at the lowest level, maybe at a mid-tier range of getting in the drug game or doing this and doing that. And next thing you know, you have a different sense of, I don't know, being hooked in or having a passion about it when a certain song comes on in the club and you really been doing these lyrics that these guys probably never do. But now you got it basically inside your soul, like I'm really doing this. I'm really living this lifestyle. I'm really taking these chances the same way it's outlined in this CD to do. It was like we was basically reading books that were spoken out in lyrics.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because a lot of times, and you get older and you realize it was all a lie. It was all a lie. Like a lot of rappers who I remember hearing that Snoop Dogg was married, and I'm like, what? And he's supposed to be a pimp. You know what I'm saying? I remember
Like
being a kid,
22 years, my guy.
16, and I'm like, yo, he's married, but what he was promoting projecting was not that. So it's like when you find out that a lot of these rappers don't live the lifestyle that they project, it's like
betrayal,
I've been bamboozled.
Betrayed.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really because a lot of us, if I'm keeping it real, a lot of us lost our virginities based off of, something they seen from a celebrity and this
or
and
some
that.
of our friends died.
Or some of our friends died. You know what I'm saying?
You thought
Because
this was the lifestyle of being,
Right.
and then next thing you know, like one thing they didn't really break down was how dirty sometimes, the selling drugs game could be, or being in the streets and doing X, Y, Z. Like folks really die over that stuff.
Right.
So like, you die trying to live out lyrics that was
That
fake.
was fake. Yeah,
That's
that the person
crazy.
who was saying it wasn't living themselves.
That's real crazy.
And I think that says a lot for our community, like the black community. I mean,
Hmm.
I ain't gonna go too deep into that, but you know what I'm saying. It
Yeah.
just says a lot about us. Like, what are we projecting into our people? And
Yeah.
I'm just when I say our people, I'm talking about all people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I mean, yes, I'm a black man, but I'm talking about all people.
Yeah.
If we living on this planet together, we can't we're gonna have to survive together. So it's just what are we projecting? What message are we projecting to our people? And I think that what's so important is like at that point from 17, 18 until now, it's like the messages that I was projecting are different than the messages that I'm projecting now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's it's kind of crazy. It's like your perception change of what is the good life.
yeah,
You know, at 17, I thought the good life was getting money, getting women, and just having some form of power. Like I
yeah,
thought the money would bring power. I thought it would bring the women. I thought it would give me a certain status in life.
for
Um,
sure.
Now I don't see it like that. Like the definition of the good life has been redefined in my life once Christ entered. So it was like it kind of really segues us into our next topic. Like when did you realize you kind of went from like being a boy to a man? It was like I think it really clicked for me like in my early 20s because I'm one of them few people that like really jumped off the boat when it came to like getting married. So like I proposed around like 21. I was married by like
Let me
22.
get us a try.
Man, it was scary. It was really scary, but I can say 10 years later, like it was one of the best decisions I made. Like being able to like have somebody to grow with and build with, like and having that responsibility that wasn't just about me. Like I don't life is somewhat simplistic when it's maybe just about you. Like you only gotta take care of you. You only gotta pay your bills. But once you have other mouths to feed, once you
Yeah,
have children, once you have a spouse to take care of, that really changes things. Like it takes it increases the fact that you have to be more responsible, and it also it may even add a burden to you where like I can't just check out. Um, like when you hear about so many suicides and things of that nature where people give up and they just can't bear no more, I think there probably would be a lot more if people didn't have kids. But like when people have kids and different
yeah,
family members and different responsibilities, it puts a burning desire in you where you're like, you know what, I gotta figure this out. Like I gotta push past what I feel right now in this moment
right.
because that moment is fleeting. Like when you're in a dark space, you're going through something and you feel like, man, I just really want to give up. I really just want to take my life. Just know that, that's not gonna last forever. You know, that moment of darkness at most is just the nighttime. That joy is coming in the morning. There will be brighter days for yourself. So remember to push past that. People like it ain't always gonna be hard times. Things in life happens in cycles and seasons,
Yeah,
and no season is forever. The devil can't mess with your finances. The devil can't mess with your mind for longer than a season.
right.
So when you're in the middle of it, just remember, just pray that God gets you through it. And don't always ask to come out because sometimes you got to repeat a season like you're repeating a grade.
Yeah.
So you really want to get the lesson out of whatever you're going through in life.
How I'm supposed to piggyback off that? Like, you just making it
Yeah, tomahawk.
you just making it harder and harder for me.
man.
But nah, the change from a boy to a man. I think I realized that change within myself. It happened in spurts. I would say the first one was maybe about 20. I was a little one because I had to take on a responsibility. I didn't have to, but I took on a responsibility of taking care of one of my siblings. And then from 20 to about 23, 24 is I became a full-time entrepreneur and And it was a big jump, graduating college and people like, man, why you ain't using your degree? And I'm like, initially I was using my degree and then I pivoted and I started, becoming an entrepreneur because I'm just like, man, this is not the life that I envisioned for myself. The life that I envisioned for myself is like doing what I want to do when I want to do it, and not just because I have problems with structure or bosses or anything like that, or having a boss or anything like that. It was just I never seen myself. That wasn't where I saw myself. So and then that was like 23, 24, and then I saw another one at 26. And pretty much at 26, 2018, I saw um a lot. It was a lot of new things happening in my life. So I was expecting my first child, and as well as my best friend, my grandfather, one of the closest people to me. He had a stroke. So and when that happened, I started realizing like, man, I can't do life by myself. Up until that point, I felt like you know I could do it. I could get to where I'm going by myself without anybody's help. And I started realizing when, you know, I flew down, to see him and take care of him. I started realizing like, man, this is like one of the titans in my life. And here I am helping him take a shower and helping him, put on his clothes and I started realizing like, man, I can't do life by myself. And I seen the help that he was getting from my grandmother and what my grandmother was doing for him. And, I'm like, man, that's when I started really realizing like, man, I need a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like when it really clicked for me, like
funny because like I thought that's where you was going. But
yeah.
Oh man.
No, but yeah, that's a part of it. Like, because before I'm like, I'm out here.
Pitbull with the pig
You
thing
know what I'm
hanging
saying?
out.
I'm out here doing my thing. But it's like, you realize when life really hits. Like, man, I got a baby on the way. I got, my one of the titans in my life just had a stroke. And now here I am, helping him do things that he could do 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a learning moment for me to really realize like, yo, you can't do life by yourself. You wasn't made to do life by yourself. And I always had this mindset like, I'm gonna get it done, I'm gonna do it, I got it, and it's just like it doesn't work like that. Like, yeah, there are certain things where you need to do alone, but life as a whole, you're not gonna be able to do it alone. That's not, you know what I mean? Like that's not
Teamwork make the dream work.
right. Teamwork makes the dream work. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's one of the biggest leaps. And I think I continue, if I'm being honest, I continue to see, the boy shed away into the man. Like if I'm being honest, I still believe there's parts of me that's boy. You know what I'm saying? And not fully man. And that's, as hard as it is to admit, got truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta be 100. What do I look like, coming on here, trying to encourage you guys and not being, real and vulnerable with myself. There are still parts of me that's like, that still want to be, a little immature and a little irresponsible, But I like you were saying, when you had that family, I gotta feed my child, I gotta provide for my child, I gotta do this. I got this person looking at me, I got this person looking at me, I got this person depending on me, and it's like, and it's not pressure, but it's just a level of responsibility that God elevated you to, and now you have to,
How you talk
yeah,
it.
you got to walk in how you talk it, and just be that man or that woman. Because I'm sorry, ladies, we haven't really been talking on the lady side, but be that man or that woman who can navigate life and know that, hey, it's okay to say, hey, I need help. Like I always, let me correct myself. I did have that problem of saying I need help. Like I was probably the most prideful person. Like I would go
Quick
with no
question.
food.
do you feel like having a daughter kind of did something to you different than would be having a son? Where like like being one of those you know folks that was probably in the streets sticking and moving. Do
Roughneck.
you?
I wasn't no roughneck.
Nah, but like, do you feel like it's like put something in you to talk with your child about like what type of man she should want?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, that's another thing that changed, and it's like, man, I'm having a girl, and I'm like, I have to be. I'm the first. First of all, I'm not gonna be perfect. That's number one, right? None of us, I'm not gonna be without a flaw, and so that changed my perspective on, you know, how I should lead as a man and the things that I should do, because now I'm the first representation of a man that she sees. And whatever I do, that, and a guy and a man, that's what she's gonna be looking at. Like that, for the most part, that's the example that I set for her. Like, hey, this is what a man is supposed to be. That's what she's going, from here on out. That's what she's gonna be attracted to or gravitated to. So it's a huge responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I mean, kids, period. But like, I think a girl definitely, for me, I mean, it made me a lot more empathetic. Because I like giving that tough, hard love, But like, having a daughter, she's emotional. But I love her, with everything in me. But just dealing with, that, and having to manage that, and and I feel like it definitely makes you mature in the area of, because guys, we don't deal with the same emotions that women deal with. We don't, for whatever reason, we're just not wired that way. And so with that being said, I have to now empathize with my child. I have to, because you know what I mean. If I don't, it's like, who's gonna do it? I mean, her mom does a great job. Shout out to you, Destiny. You know what I'm saying? But her mom does a great job at being there, like emotionally available. But I know I had to grow in that. You know what I mean? I had to grow into that emotional availability, and not just saying don't cry. Just allowing her to express herself and stuff like that. So yeah, I had to grow into that. So yeah, it definitely changed me and matured me while having a daughter.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Is it different having boys? Like, what is it like?
Having boys, to a certain degree, I think about it like, I'm giving them this last name, the same last name my father gave me, and and it's like, you kind of gotta stand on that, because this is
10 toes down.
Yeah, it's like a lot of times when you're raising boys, like you trying to build a reputation, and you're trying to teach these sons. I mean, they're mad young right now, but let's say 10 years from now, like, I really want to instill in them that, your name, your word and your name means a lot. Like, your reputation can take a lifetime to build, but only a few seconds, maybe even only a few minutes to destroy it. Like one decision, one rash decision, one, argument going wrong, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It can all be gone. Like, this system doesn't have a problem with locking black men up.
Yeah, it sucks that it's like that. And not just the system, in our community. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we're so quick to nail people and not hail people. You know what I mean? I think we got to be equal with the, telling me what I'm doing right and telling me what I'm doing wrong. Don't just tell me like what I'm doing wrong all the time without giving me, you know what I mean? What I'm doing right, because I mean, it's just so backwards to me. And I think when you look at, and this is going a little off topic, but it's all right, because when you look at the church as a whole, I think a lot of people aren't attracted to the church or have been turned off by the church, because it's like, we're not transparent people. We don't make it seem like we all have mistakes. Like, and then when somebody does something wrong, or it's like we do the same thing that the people did when they brought the woman that was an adulterer, supposedly, in front of Jesus. Like, yo, look, she committed adultery. We do the same thing as a society, and as a community of Christians. We're like, all right, this person made this problem. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
And we
And
don't
it,
self-reflect and look at our own life, what we got going on, like
right,
the sins we might be committing.
right,
That transparency is a weird thing, especially in the church, because it's like you want to be transparent enough to help people get free and delivered. But as leadership, how transparent can you be? Because sometimes when you're too transparent, it leads to judgmentalness and it
right,
leads to all this thing. So you really got to be free enough in God to trust that He's gonna let you. He's gonna keep you covered, because when you're in a relationship with Him, it's only really once you enter that holy matrimony that you truly see a person uncovered.
right,
So it's like once you go into that next level of having a wife, being husband and wife, then it's like you begin to see stuff that you never saw in the part that you were court in your courtship.
right.
So when you courting this woman, when you dating this woman, when you're going out to dates and y'all not living together, it's a whole different ball game to when y'all become married. Y'all living in the same house. You seeing the weird things that he or she does that
Right.
kind of just irks you. So that's just it's just interesting, but it's also like a blessing at the same time that God can keep you and cover you. It like in encapsulation, like as we hit this last topic, that nothing is wasted. And, everything you went through is still usable now. Even that ambition that I had at 17, it's like God still didn't just disappear. Like, oh no, I don't need that. I don't want you to have that. God took that 17-year-old ambition in me, and He flips it and tries to use it for His glory, use it for His kingdom. Like I'm supposed to have that same passion that I had for grinding and getting money. I have that same passion for leading people to Christ, like showing somebody, what's real, or being there for somebody, like when they need it. Like, hey, I'm one of those people that I always hit you with, like, hey, you can call me at any time, like as long as I ain't wrapped up with the kids, we chop it up, and I really try to give you the real, because that's what really helps folks.
Right, right.
So, what about you? Like, is there like a point in your life that God, like, what from your younger years you feel like God is still using now?
Ooh. We kind of touched on this a little bit in the last episode. I would think that the different struggles that I went through, just learning from that so I don't have to repeat it. Um, and not only that, but using those struggles to have faith in my current struggles. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, I overcame this situation at this age. I might have been 18 or 19 going through this. And it might come around again. And it's like, well, I overcame it at that age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
might have more responsibility, but I can't. I overcame it at that age, and God was present at that time. He's the same God yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So it's like, who am I to say, why should I have fear? Why should I not believe that He's gonna do the same thing? So I think that that's something that kind of carries me and on to where I am today. And I think that it's important to understand, like, and to remember those things, because it's kind of like, I'm kind of pivoting here, but it's kind of like in the Old Testament where they used to leave stones and stuff where God
Oh,
did
yeah.
things.
Those
It's
were
like,
altars.
right, the altars, right,
Yeah.
where God showed up, so they could remember, like, okay, this is a place where God did this, and it's kind of important to do that in your life. I mean, you could write it down, like,
Yeah.
write down the date or whatever.
I think it's kind of interesting. I don't think there'll ever be a point in your life where you're not going through something, where you don't have some type of form of trial and tribulation. Like with life working in cycles and seasons, times and seasons, there's always going to be something. We talked about this last time. When it comes to things, you're either just coming out of a situation, getting ready to go through a situation, or in the middle of a situation.
Right.
Like, I don't think God really designed anybody's life to just be so easy and peasy. And if it is, it might just be the devil lullabying you to sleep and not waking up that calling that God placed on your life. So you got to be mindful of that. Like, is my life just too easy?
Yeah.
Are you not recognizing, maybe what God is calling you to do? Because the position that God is calling believers to take is going to cause some type of trial and tribulation, because it brings about separation. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
a separating process. Like it's weird. Like once you really start taking up that banner of the name of Christ, it's like you might have friends separate from you. You might have loved ones separate from you. It's like it might cause you to lose certain things, but it's greater on the other side of that. So
Right.
it's like you got to stick with God no matter how things are looking at the moment.
Right. Right. So we started off the podcast talking about how we were entrepreneurs, and of course, we're fathers, and um, how does that how does the blend of being a father and an entrepreneur, like how do you balance? What's the balance?
Just trying to have in my head like how a day should play out. Like I would like to say I'm gonna get better at this thing called time blocking and making a schedule, and even to a certain degree I do have one. But in my mind it's like, okay, I got this time that I'm gonna spend with the kids. I got this time I need to get kids to daycare, or I need to get them to school. But like in the evenings and the afternoons, once work is over, like to a certain degree, I'm teaching them the grind. A lot of times, I would take David, like as a real estate agent, I would take David with me on showings.
Okay.
I have him saying, repeating some of the same things I'm saying, like, "Oh, there's stainless steel appliances. These are hardwood floors." So you're trying to teach them some form of business in what you do.
Right.
Like you want them to be, to a certain degree, proud of what you're doing, because this may potentially be what they do, but at the same time, like even if it's not the exact same thing that they end up doing in life, that that you've given them some opportunity to create wealth
Right.
and a path to like be used and continue to take care of the family.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's why we do what we do.
Yeah,
So we can pass something down
yeah,
to our children, and so that they have something from us. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And for me, I think how I balance, I'm still learning how to balance
yeah,
being a father and being an entrepreneur and balancing my ambitions. I'm still learning. I'm still like, I'm really in the thick of it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's like, I might have days where I'm with my daughter all day. And then I might have days where it's like, okay, I gotta make something
yeah,
shake. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I gotta
yeah.
do something different within my
It's a
schedule.
lot of highs and lows. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
and so I'm still learning how, like you said, the time management piece, and still learning how to like be present. Which I think I would give myself an A plus plus. But just being present, and but also taking care of business. Like, cause sometimes I see myself like being present but not taking care of business. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, man, I gotta do X, Y, and
yeah,
Z too.
yeah,
But then it's like I gotta, make sure I'm spending quality time with my daughter, and I
yeah,
know, and playing with her and doing these things. And it's like trying to find like a balance. I think
yeah,
it's I heard somebody say there's no such thing as a balance, but I believe that there could be. I mean, one's gonna be a little bit more than the other, but you hustle and you work
you do the
to
best
that
you
point.
can.
Yeah, you do the best you can, but and you hustle and you get to that point so that you can have that free time. Like you know what I
Yeah,
mean? We
yeah.
all want to get to a point.
It's front loaded in the upfront of building a business. It's like
Mhm.
I'm sacrificing some of this time now so that I can have more time with and do
Right,
more
right,
influential things with my
right.
kids later.
Later, right, right, and that's how I look at it. So,
Yeah.
because sometimes I do feel bad, like man, I gotta, it's
Mhm.
been 2 days since I gave my daughter some quality time, or just turning on the TV so I could do what I have to do. Like,
Yeah.
it's tough, and I'm still learning how to balance that. And I would love to hear what some of you guys have to say about how you balance work or being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur or chasing your ambitions. Because I don't believe that just because you're a parent that all your focus should go into your child. Because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, all your focus can go into your child, but then who's doing who's building that legacy? If that's what you desire. I mean, if
Yeah.
you don't desire that, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
But if you do, who's building that legacy? And so I think there. I want to hear from people just to
Yeah.
see like, hey, what do you do that works, or what do you think? What pivots have you made in your life where you see like, okay, I can, maybe it's a time
Yeah.
management pivot. Like, hey, I'm dedicating this day, the whole day to my child since I work 9 to 5. I'm
Yeah.
dedicating. You know what I mean? So I think
Might be a
there's
Saturday or Sunday, like
right,
what you doing after church.
right.
Um, this is the part where we're asking y'all to be interactive with us. Drop your comments. Let us know how you manage these things. Let us know on each and every topic we talked about. Like, what was your mindset at 17? Like, what was your dreams? Like, how did you view yourself? What was your self image at 17? How is it now? Like who influenced you growing up? Like, was it actors? Was it rappers? Was it, what books did you read? Like, what had a profound influence in your life from, either girlhood to womanhood or boyhood to manhood? Like when did you realize you made that change and that shift that you became you went from being a boy to a man?
or a
Um,
girl to a woman.
yeah, and nothing is wasted. These are the topics we hit on. Like, how is God still using the things that you've been through in your past? With that scripture being, Romans 8:28, all things work together for
For the
them
good.
for the good of those who are called. Like, how is God using what you've been through in your life today? We want to hear those things in the comments. So remember to subscribe, like, and comment and share. This is your boy Devon,
Xavier,
and this is what is truth.
thank you.